Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Not Just Nonsense. And today I have my guests with me again, Jonathan and Carlitos.
Fuck you.
They didn't see me wink when I did the.
No, they can't see you wink on here.
King Camargo.
Yeah. King of what? Camargo Land.
He's not a king of anything just yet. He has to marry a queen first.
Or I can sweep a widow's feet.
Yeah. Oh no, yo, you sweep someone's feet. You get your feet swept, you're gonna marry a widow. That's just the truth of it. So today on the podcast, we're gonna be talking about the Joker. We're gonna probably run through a quick synopsis of the movie, so there are gonna be spoilers ahead, and also we're gonna talk about any cultural impact or anything that was happening to the film as for releasing it or even publicity that came out. So let's go ahead. Let's get into discussing the Joker. So y'all have all seen it, correct?
Yeah, no.
God damn it!
saw
The
one.
only homework assignment you had was to
You
watch
said
the
we
Joker.
were going to watch it together, so...
I was saving myself for.
And you just happened to buy the 1968 version of Batman
Sure did.
with Cesar Romero's Joker.
Yeah, that mustache.
Oh my god, I can't imagine having to paint over your mustache every time you record.
Yeah,
Or
and
you
getting
have
it
to
out.
film. Oh.
That. That's what this is going to be mostly about.
Oh, that-
How to
that-
get paint out of your mustache.
That man had some patience to go through that every day and just paint over it and then wash it out.
Right? But he refused to shave it, so.
Okay, so I want to go through each of y'all's opinions on the movie. So let's go with Carlos. What was your take on the Joker movie? What'd you think?
I thought it was extremely phenomenal. Hands down, in my opinion, a 10.
A 10?
A 10.
What else would you rate a 10? So we have some
yeah.
something to base off of, a baseline.
The original Clash of the Titans. I'm fucking with you. Although that was a great movie.
I don't know, it goes along with Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh god, those crappy claymation.
Dude,
but
I love the claymation.
We needed that though, man. It was phenomenal.
Was it Harryhausen? Ray Harryhausen? Is that his name?
I
The guy who did it? A lot of that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Where's our Jamie guy to look it up? Jamie, look it up.
Jamie, look at that. We need a Jamie.
Yeah,
We don't have a Jamie yet.
don't
We
have a
are taking applications.
Water. Jamie!
Excuse me. I thought, in my perspective, like the Lord of the Rings would be a high 10 for me, or a 10 for me. Films like that just kind of captivate you. You kind of fall, especially with a Joker, because
Were all three movies 10s for you, like the whole trilogy of the Lord of the Rings, or is it as a whole?
I think more so just the first one. I
okay.
love the other two. I love the Two Towers and I love Return of
Yeah.
the King. But I lost my train of thought.
You love Return of the King.
Rigo's
That was the
doing
thought.
gang signs. I don't know what that was. I know.
I was telling you to steal third.
Take it away. No. Excuse me.
Jamie, water!
Jamie, I need water. Of course, Star Wars. Return of the Jedi was a 10 for me. But I think, especially because the character kind of hits home for me, this particular version of the Joker, I loved it. And I thought one of the most, the best moment in the movie was when he was on the Murray show and he tells him you want to hear another joke.
Oh, yeah, the final joke.
And he tells them, what happens, you throw him into this fucked up society. Like, before it was, what was the original Joker? Like, the chemicals or some shit, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
in the bat.
Well,
Ace
yeah.
Chemical.
Yeah, and then now it's society that broke him and made him go fucking crazy. Like, I thought that was just an ingenious idea. So I love the movie.
Yeah, they say like it's like a character study of like mental illness, or it could be like they say it's kind of a Rorschach test for people, because like for the viewers, like 'cause some were like, yeah, it's like a study of like what happens when people toss aside like mental health issues and like people that are suffering that need that help, and how sometimes like when they can become violent, the ones that are like have those kind of like difficulties. Or the other side of that is like, do you see it as like, is it glorifying like this like type of behavior? Because especially with like all in the new, like, well, it's always been around, but like all the recent like shootings and like mass shootings and like, you know, like those loner types with the mentally ill, and like they become violent and they take it out on society.
Yeah,
Like,
like the Columbine kids, like, you know, the world's against me, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna make everybody feel as much pain as I can, and then take my own life type view.
Yeah, so it's like the movies, like from the viewer's point of view, it's like, what do you see? Like, do you see that, or do you see it like, do you see it like glorifying that, or do you see it as like, this is what, like a cautionary tale, like it's saying this is what could happen because of like, if you don't take care of like the people that need help like this.
Well, not necessarily.
I mean, that wasn't the main
Right. I
goal of it.
understand.
Yeah, it was like just like a sub theme like throughout, or like.
But I think because he actually sought out help, whether it was court mandated
Yeah.
or not, he did have somebody to talk to, and it was.
And then the
to
program
me, that
got
was
cut.
iconic because she said they don't give a shit about people like you. They don't give a shit about people like me.
Yeah.
Like I thought, you know what I'm saying? Instead of getting irate, he asked, where am I going to get my medication? Like he knew
Yeah,
the medication
he
was
literally
doing
like, and it got,
something.
yeah, and like
Yeah,
and the program got straight cut.
Yeah,
And like
Yeah. He wanted to be functional in society.
Yeah, like
And he never once was like, I'm not taking the pills, or was against it. He wanted
Mhm.
the help.
yeah, like he said, I just don't want to feel so bad anymore.
and then he tried, I think like the comedy thing was almost like another outlet for him, so he could like self-soothing, like taking care of, like getting it out there. Like he wanted to be a comedian, like he loved it and everything, but like the art, the whole like following your art form or whatever is kind of like, it's also like a way of like therapy maybe for him. Like he was trying to do it, but it went so bad for him.
Like the way it comes off to me is like the comedy was never really an original inspiration for himself. Like he always made it seem like it was his mother who always kind of pushed it on him.
Oh
Like-
yeah, because like they would watch they would watch his show together.
Or show.
He always says like, my mother always told me that I was supposed to bring laughter and joy to the world.
Oh yeah.
And so it's almost like he's trying to live and be that person his mother wants him to be. But they never really like show. Do they ever show her say that?
No, they don't show her saying that.
But it's always him. Yeah, it's always him like saying.
He always talks about
okay.
it. Yeah.
But
that's a
that-
good catch too. Like he would say like, my mother always told
Yeah.
me.
But that's the good and bad thing about this Joker is because he's not a reliable narrator. Yeah, because there's many things like, you know, you don't know if he's telling the truth or if it was on his head. Because was it with the scene where they're saying that, oh, you were adopted, and like Bruce Wayne, I mean, what was his name?
Thomas Wayne?
Thomas Wayne
Yeah.
had an affair with her. He's like, that never happened. And like you see the card where it's like
Mm-hmm.
love Thomas.
It could be read either way. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it could be. Yeah, that was really good because that unreliable narrator. Like the Joker would be something like that, and then of course it ends with like where he's in the asylum talking to the doctor, like as if, was he telling her that whole thing? Like was he recounting what happened, or was he just making it all up for her? Or
Yeah, like is he actually a psychopath? Then like he was just the whole movie is the joke. Like you wouldn't get it.
yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to consider him part of the Batman canon. Like they had elements of Batman in
Well,
there.
no. So I forgot who directed it. But they basically said like it's a standalone. It's on its own. It does have Gotham City. It does have Thomas, and I mean they are kind of
and Bruce Wayne and his origin, like
he's also
yeah, he has the character. Yeah, it has the characters.
Which is all you get what you fucking deserve. But I think like the character of the Joker, in my perspective, has always known he's fucked up, and I think they portrayed that well in this movie. Like he knew something was wrong with him, but he got to the point where he just stopped caring. It was with the subway murders.
Yeah,
Then he killed his mom, which was, I mean, that was a crucial part in his story.
Yeah, because but also, you know, he was kind of forced to accept who he was because he was no longer given the opportunity to medicate. And so that kind of just led to his, I guess, reawakening
Yeah.
and rediscovery of his past and what his mother had done and actually who he really is.
Yeah.
And
well, after his first murder, like I saw an interview with him, and he was talking about you know that whole the right after the subway killing, like the first murder that he committed, he ran into the bathroom, and then he did that little ballet.
Yeah.
That was unscripted, and Joaquin Phoenix was saying that he felt like there was something there that needed to show him like transforming, like a transformation, like he wasn't like it felt right to him. It wasn't like he felt like he did something wrong or as the character as Joker, like it didn't feel like he did something wrong there, or that he was afraid that about like having committed murder. It's like he was
Free.
Yeah, which shows how mentally ill he was, just how messed up like he is, that he would feel after the committing the murder. It felt like it set him free, and then it kind of used it as a way to just like kind of rail against everything that he's been angry about in a violent way. Because it's like it was a moment, an opportunity that he happened to stumble upon, and then once he did that, it kind of just opened the floodgates for him to just he could do it whenever. Then he knew that he was a murderer then, and like he didn't really try turning back after that.
Yeah, because he chased down the third guy.
Yeah,
that was the thing. That was a real big turning point. So like the first two, you could say those are self-defense.
The third guy, he did it sheer out of pleasure.
Yeah, but that's because up to that point,
he was also a witness, wouldn't he? Like he was, but I mean, yeah, he could have let him get away. He didn't have to chase him down like that, and he reveled in it. Like that whole ballet thing was like,
and of course, who would have believed that it was in self-defense?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing too. I'm not saying what he did was right.
Well,
but
actually, you never know. Like if they were to, I mean, Gotham and its thing is actually very corrupt. I don't know if like in this version the Gotham PD is as corrupt as it's always been.
Because they made Thomas Wayne look like the bad guy, and I thought that was fucking important because throughout the entire lore, and I don't know all the comic books, history or whatnot,
yeah.
but in the movies, Thomas Wayne is always held up as this, this icon. He helps the city and he does these great things, and then you meet this Thomas Wayne and he just looks like he's an asshole. Like,
well, I actually that's why the movie wasn't a 10 for me. Like my rating is like a 9. Although Joaquin Phoenix's like his performance as Joker is a 10 for sure. Like I think even if the writing hadn't been as good as it was, he would still save the film just with his portrayal of Joker. But like the whole Thomas Wayne thing, yeah, I get what they were doing, because he's just this. It's always been like, yeah, he's the one that Bruce looks up to him, and I do like the idea of that Bruce, even as Batman, idolizes his father like all kids would, and he was so young that he would be that idol to him as a child, and he just remained that way for the whole time. And the father there's all this stuff he didn't know about his father, and plus the whole like he's a corporate, top guy, all these billions. That it is likely it's like it's talking about the culture that we have now, where a lot of corporate CEOs and rich, like it's talking about how the rich seem to be getting away with a lot. The ones in certain ones, not all of them, but the ones we see in the news, it's always like.
But yeah, that was actually part of the point the director wanted to make, was he goes, yeah, it's gonna be a political film.
Yeah.
And so Thomas Wayne is pretty much Trump, and the media is, of course. I guess they're on his side in the movie.
Yeah.
But the rioters, they're obviously Antifa. Like there is a scene in there. I can't remember what the sign says, but like that's an exact slogan that Antifa uses all the time.
But during those riots, like not even the rioters amongst them, some of them were more violent than others. The ones that flocked to Joker at the end, those were the ones really creating a lot of chaos and stuff. But there's protesters before that. Like when Thomas Wayne was going in, and what did he say? Called him a clown. Joker.
Yeah.
Those were just protesters, and like they could be two totally different.
There are good people on both sides.
Oh God, no. You guys just don't know the whole story. Is what I'm saying.
You need to read.
But it's like, there's difference between. I like the idea that he showed there is a difference between like protesting and rioting. At least to me, it seemed like there was a difference there, but it might have been on accidentally that he showed that.
But I think it's important that he became the symbol for chaos.
As the Joker, yeah.
Yeah, as the Joker.
Because where'd all those henchmen come from? Like, and all the cartoons.
On his mouth. Like, that's when he became the character, the full character of the Joker. But I think it's because we know this character to be very chaotic, to be methodical, to be very, against the rules, and
Yeah.
he kills. Well, he doesn't. Yeah, he does kill. He beats the shit out of Jason Todd,
Yes, he does
who
with,
then
with a
becomes
crowbar.
the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I mean that's
Reese
some
brought him
brutal-
back
Like
and-
he beat the shit out of a kid.
Well, that's actually even more intense in A Death in the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't go into the Red Hood just yet.
That's the masks, right?
Which one? I mean,
The
no, that's Jason. That's Jason Todd being killed.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, Death in-
yeah.
Death in the Family.
Yeah, but he doesn't become the Red Hood
Which
right
is
away.
the masks.
The Court of Owls?
I know.
You're
That's
talking
more
about like
like
those white masks or Death of the Family?
I think it's
haven't read
Death-
that one.
Death of the Family,
where,
yeah.
Like, he cuts the faces or some shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Is like that transition from this helpless individual to literally becoming a symbol of chaos, and you have individuals who are standing behind you. Like, I thought that's what made the film so great. Was you saw this, beaten down. They beat his ass for a
Nobody.
sign.
Yeah.
Like, he was a nobody. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was also a critique on the city, like cities themselves. Like it was a character. It was
Yeah.
set, and it was kind of like it's a timeless thing, but you kind of had that '70s feel, like '70s New York type feel, like maybe like where crime was really bad, and like there's a lot of civil unrest, and like how in situations and environments like that, the helpless, but like also the vulnerable, but the dangerous, like all combined into one, could rise to the top through all that through all that chaos. Because if the system isn't working, then they're gonna flock to the chaos, because that's where they're going.
Yeah.
Like, they feel like the
They
system is-
flocked to the man who was willing to stand up to the system. So it's kind of a good way to kind of show how the Joker got his henchmen, because in all
It
the
is,
cartoons
yeah.
and comic books he has a ton of henchmen.
Mhm.
It's
Like,
like,
where do they?
it's like-
Why do they do it? Because
Yeah.
he's so dangerous and volatile. Like, why would they do that? Even for money. But there's other ways that Joker does it too. He blackmail for one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but-
threatening like families. But really, yeah, it's like a core. It's like a cult. It's basically showing you how easily anyone could become like a cult leader, or
Yeah, or just a
the dangers
like,
of who you follow. And
Waco, Texas, all over. it,
yeah,
ladies
sir,
and gentlemen.
tribalism, man. Like, hey, this guy, he's going through the same thing I am.
yeah,
He
Or so they think.
they think that he knows what I'm feeling. This is it, and they rally behind him without
And
actually
it shows
digging in.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
know him. They really don't know him. They didn't know that he had mental health issues too. They just know what they've seen on the news and like on the Murray Show, like, and
But
they
see,
kind of just piece it together for themselves and put themselves into. They connect with him on certain levels, but they just like project their own stuff onto him as a leader. So he becomes a leader, but
It was by accident, because only thing the news had was as a killer clown kills 3 high-class businessmen.
yeah.
And that's what people rallied behind.
And they shut down when they shut down the government programs. Arkham was a part of that too.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think they did release. Didn't talk about it? They released a lot of Arkham inmates. They just let them go, which
I don't
which
remember
actually
that.
happens.
Yeah, that does happen though.
So they just they let them go, and there's no programs out there for them. They just basically let them out on the streets because it's like they're out of money. Like there's technically no funding, and which is another thing about Thomas Wayne. Like with how much money and power he has in that city, why isn't he contributing that way? So I get what they say, because I like the idea of like Thomas Wayne. I can deal with like him being like not being what Bruce looked up to, idolized. Although my only problem was that this is again why like I didn't rate it as a full 10, is because I wanted them to show Alfred and show Martha Wayne, his mother. His mother got like almost no screen time, which I would have loved to see, because you can show that difference between Thomas Wayne as a businessman. He's an idol. Bruce's idol. And he doesn't really know him, because it's like that whole classic, like the father is always at work doing like, doing that thing. But the mother's at home with him. So I want to see what her influence is on Bruce as a young boy. And then when she gets murdered, and that was another thing. And during the origin scene, I didn't really feel anything for you. You want to you don't want to make just, especially in movies like this, where like the main character is like, he's more of you could say an anti-hero, more so, even though he does things that are straight villainous. But it's like, you could say in a movie like that with more shades of gray, I would have liked them to show like Bruce, like during the origin story, I wanted to feel something more for when his parents got shot, because I didn't really feel anything. Thomas Wayne was a jerk, and I didn't have any weird connection to Martha Wayne. Plus, I would have liked Alfred not to have been such a he had no like sympathy or empathy, even though when Joker like met Bruce at the gates and he was a dangerous character, like there was something off. Alfred kind of had that same kind of like arrogant attitude, like he had no empathy or anything kind of like that. He just kind of shut him down too, just like the rest of society. I feel like Alfred is the one that Bruce is molded by the most, because he raises him, you know, he becomes the new father figure. So
but I think that's what makes this movie so important, is because it isn't about them. And so for years you've got...
Well, I think they're tied together always, Joker and Batman.
Yeah, but this film was more so for the Joker. I mean, you already have the 5 original films.
We have plenty on Batman.
We have plenty on Batman. We had very little on the Joker.
That's true. Well, that's part of what's great about Joker, and I was worried about in the beginning, is because the mystique of him is like that's something, just like with like a lot of like, that's like the Jaws thing. Like you don't the less you know, the better. The more you can create with your own mind, the better.
And
he is a Rorschach test too. You create what you want to create with him.
This isn't necessarily like the official origin story of the Joker either. This is just
I know. There's one of many.
One version. But I think that's crucial, is that they took these heroes that we all grew up with, you know, the idolizing of the father and you know, the mother and the father getting gunned down. Like, we felt something for them then, but you're right, I felt absolutely nothing for them because I didn't care.
And see,
and I feel like that was a misstep in writing.
No, I don't think that's a misstep, because, you know, it's showing this. We're seeing this through the Joker's narrative. So of course, to him, he's gonna be, you know, Wayne's gonna be a dick. He's gonna be an asshole, and also he might actually have been, because every iteration of Batman we see Bruce remembering. And how old was he when his parents died? Like 10, 9, 8?
Yeah, he idolized.
And so his parents, in a child's eyes, if they're, you know, if he doesn't see him too often and he's only there for the good times, you know, he's gonna see his father as a good person. And he's not really gonna see the truth unless he like digs into it or someone tells him.
Yeah, I like that. That part where like the idolizing of Thomas Wayne, it was actually like, it's like a child, like he was just young enough to where like he didn't find out like the whole, like your parents are human. But I still would have liked a balance with that with Martha Wayne, because then if they continue it with a Batman, which I would love to see, actually a sequel where like he becomes like Bruce becomes Batman, but it's still from Joker's point of view, that would be a very interesting thing. In fact, one of my favorite parts of it was the whole his laughter, how it's I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, it's a condition.
One of the I thought that was one of the most brilliant things that anybody's written for Joker.
Yeah,
and
because it affects
him.
Everything.
Yeah, like it hurts him. It hurts him to laugh.
Well, it affects. Well, it's because it's most often when he gets nervous and when he's like afraid. So it shifted every single fight he's ever had with Batman. Every time he's ever like done anything like violent or like when he laughs. All those times, then it just made it where like, so all those times that he's laughing when Batman's beating him, or like when he's fighting Batman, now it's like, okay, Batman's beating him up like a bullet. Like it's like he's Joker, and like you said, like in Joker's eyes, he's being bullied. Like Batman is just using brutal violence against him, and he's laughing, but it's the condition that showing him that he's actually very afraid, very nervous.
He has no control, but he's given the illusion because his condition that he has control, and that just makes Batman
doesn't
hate him
know
more.
that. So it's like, it is like
beautiful. It's beautiful.
So it's a comment on like maybe like the just like police, you know, like going in without the full knowledge, because Batman wouldn't know that Joker has this condition, at least at first. So the more Joker laughs about it, the more Batman thinks he's just
plus Batman
taunting him, or
Batman never knows who the Joker is, so he has absolutely nothing to go on except what the Joker's given him.
Yeah.
Which is
Joker gives him nothing, like
just bodies. That's all he gives Batman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although I think another crucial point to bring up is the mere fact that he was going to go on the Murray show to kill himself.
Yeah.
And that's right. And Murray started bullying him.
And then he chose to kill Murray instead, rather than taking his own life and ending the pain, and he wouldn't have to laugh anymore. No one would make fun of him. He chose his own life, killed this dude. I love how he shot him again, and he was gonna do it again, but he just drops the gun, does his
Yeah.
little jig, and he walks off. Like I thought that was great, but I think it's a testament to the character, in my perspective at least. That this, he knows, like he's smart enough to see
that he's on TV. He's on TV live.
Yeah,
Everybody's watching.
So
and
rather than killing yourself, I'm gonna kill this dude. And then and there's already riots. They beat the cops up in the train.
It shows that it shows that he's smart enough to realize the moment, but also that he's unstable enough and unable to control his emotions enough that he actually commits murder on TV too. That he sees it as a moment and nothing stops him from doing it because he's already there. He's already at that. Yeah. Instead of killing himself, he was just as easy. He can just as easily kill someone else, and it just so happened that in that moment he saw he could do more that way as a symbol than killing himself as a symbol.
But he never wanted to be political. He just didn't like the bullying, and I think that's what it was. I think Murray bringing him on the show and then
just to taunt him,
and then doing it again was kind of like the last straw.
His idol, yeah.
And he's like, you know what,
exactly, his idol. It's who he looked up to.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm not gonna take this anymore. I liked it, or I didn't have. I was indifferent to when I killed those 3 men because they were bullying me, and now Murray's doing it.
But
he called him a bully, right? He calls Murray a bully, and then he shoots him.
And he was like, there's different kinds of bullying, definitely emotional, like verbal, physical.
And that's when he tells him.
And this is a good. That's why I think this is more cautionary tale because it's in somebody like Joker, like his character, facing these obstacles. If it was someone else, there would have been other options that they would have contemplated. You know, like maybe just straight up calling him out on TV, or maybe doing the whole like actually working on his comedy, using that Murray's whole thing where he brings him on to taunt him, and then just like turning it around on him, like making fun of Murray, or like working on. He could have done it in different ways, but in this case, where Joker, he does have mental instabilities and he has prone to violence, and he had committed murders already. So it's a cautionary tale saying that there are people like this in this world that when they get pushed that far, they will snap and they can become symbols for others that will flock to them. It's not saying that. Well, it's not saying whether he did it, it was right or wrong, even though murders. It's it's a bad thing.
Yeah. No, like the thing that I got from it was that this is just one person in this city, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people. This movie made so much money, made over $1 billion.
It's the highest rated horror film,
and it's getting some. I don't know about the awards thing, but I think a lot of people would see it because the situation that he was put into is real. I mean, it's so relatable. I mean, you could be working one day, maybe struggling with something. You're going to get help, and then all of a sudden that help is torn away from you.
Fucking snap.
Yeah, and then you kind of become lost. And it's like, well, you know what, fuck it, I've tried to get help. Now I'm going to do it on my own. And then you realize how out of touch you are, or how much help that you were getting actually was helping you become better. And then it just spirals down. Like one event happens to another and another.
Yeah, it was a domino effect.
So rather than saying cautionary tale, I say it's more of an eye opener for people because in today's society,
that's what cautionary tales are. They're supposed to open your eyes to what's going on, the kind of things that can happen. Because everything that's happened has happened before.
The cautionary part of it. It's still because mental health is still a very taboo.
Well, it's like almost like cautionary tale in the way like folk tales, like grim fairy tales. Like,
okay, so
this is a blueprint of what could happen if you do this. I mean,
it's a cautionary tale, not in the fact that it could cause people to rally behind it and shoot up movie theaters, like what the fucking media wanted.
Yeah, I'm saying it's the opposite. Yeah.
It's a cautionary tale that, like, look, if we don't keep things in place to help the people who need it,
exactly,
it can damage society, and people can feel that it's hopeless, and the world is against them.
People can become symbols of like something.
Not necessarily symbols, but just like someone can lose their way. Yeah, but the average person becoming a symbol. I mean, that's like people idolizing, anybody who shoots up a school or anything. That's what they're trying to do.
Well, that's the thing they do become some like all those people that flock to him. Like we said, his henchmen, and this is like an excelled version of like. But even with the age of the internet and stuff, there's all these groups that would never have found each other. Now they're all finding each other, and like they flock to these symbols of like acts of violence becoming symbols to them.
So let me do it like this. If Hitler had just gone out and started shooting Jews or just killing Jews like right off the bat, I don't think he would have been able to.
Yeah, he would have been arrested.
Yeah, and that would have been it. You know, he'd have been some crazy Austrian guy who shot up some Jews, and then that was it. History would never have heard of him again. But what rallied people behind him was that the fact that he started the National Socialist Party, and then he fixed the economy. He got them out of the recession.
Well, he sought a position of power, and then he sought out the desperate people, the angry people, the emotionally charged people, and people that not and just people in a situation that were more able to exploit. Like anybody that people that joined cults.
It wasn't just that. It wasn't a cult, man. Like he went into Germany and he created like 100,000 new jobs. Like he expanded the Autobahn. People were getting jobs. The economy was turning around. It wasn't the minority. It was the majority of Germans who got behind him.
I mean, majority or minority.
And I'm not saying it's good, but I'm just saying it took him a while to become someone that the people were like, he is for us, and we need to rally behind him. And then after he got in and fixed all that, and people were following him, that's when he started changing and becoming more radical and be like, hey, we need to get the Jews out of here.
He had been more blatant with it after that, but
but
he had always gone for like. Because Germany was so devastated after World War I that a lot of those people were vulnerable in an emotional state, and like you said, like he gave them some things to follow behind. And then once a certain group joins, like a fanatical group, and then others are kind of on the fringes, and then like as it grows and grows, and like a lot of people that would have voiced dissent, would not out of fear, and not all of them did it just because they were actually seeking. Hating Jewish people or anybody else or any other scapegoats that he gave for them to hate. It's just like people more and more he was gaining more and more in power, popularity, and people started fearing the ones that probably wouldn't have or were interested in him and then saw what he was becoming and wouldn't want to. It was already felt like some of them like it was too late. They'd crossed the line, or
and I think that's where the media they want it to be a Hitler tale, to where like he goes in and kills people and then people rally behind him and they shoot up movie theaters. No, that's what the
Joker.
Joker. Mm-hmm. That's what the media wanted, and it's not. That's not what it was. I don't think
I can't speak for any of those people, any journalist.
There was a ton, man. Like it was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for any journalist. I can't say that any of them wanted an actual like. A shooting to occur because of the Joker.
It really seemed like it, man. Like the way they were pushing it.
I could not speak for any of them to want something in that level.
I'll say it.
Maybe
some of these journalists are crazy, or they're activists posing as journalists.
Well, I guess it depends on the each person, each journalist. It'll just depend on, and also on the company or whatever they work for. But in any case, like Joker being a cautionary tale, like I'm saying, it's more so saying like this is what could happen, not like what you should or shouldn't do. It's not telling you what to do. It's just saying this is something that could happen, and from just the viewpoint of like societies and humanity, like this is a bad turn, just based off of like. History books of like this is what the city they started rioting in the city, burning cars, killing innocent people. Most were probably, I think, most likely getting killed. Because in any kind of like violent riot, there's going to be people that are just caught up in it. It didn't show that, which I would have.
Yeah, they were on the train.
I mean, basically, I think that the whole like Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, them getting shot as. It was just a part of the riot. Like that was their like showing that these people were and weren't. Because Thomas Wayne was technically a part of Joker's origin, and he was technically not. Like the only interactions he had with him were, it was like 2 interactions, but they weren't good ones, and he was just a douchebag to him.
Well, that's because the Joker.
But he was also it was also angry, like protecting his. He was afraid for his family too. So it's like he handled it wrong.
Well, okay, look. So, Thomas Wayne reacting the way he did, I think he's kind of validated for doing it because the Joker went to his house. he called Bruce over and he was like messing with Bruce. You know, he
Yeah.
puts his
Well, that
hands
was
on him.
Alfred that.
Yeah,
that
yeah, I know,
went to
I know,
him.
and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then this is just what Bruce heard. So if you heard that, hey, some strange guy was at your house touching your kid,
Yeah.
you know, and then later that guy shows up in the bathroom of a private event asking you about your mom.
But in the lore, yeah,
Or
exactly.
like,
but
did you have an affair with my mother and I am your child and I'm calling you dad?
yeah,
And he's like, just what the hell's wrong with you, man? Yeah, he does come off like an ass, and there's no real hero in this movie.
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
saying he's a hero or a villain. Like a Thomas Wayne from like the comics or something say he probably would have taken that moment to actually try to get help for Joker, or maybe he would have even actually Bruce would have done this. Maybe Thomas Wayne would have. He would have invested back into the asylum, into these programs, and like if he had just talked with Joker or Arthur at the
Yeah.
if he had actually talked, but yes, he was a threat to his family, so it's highly unlikely that he would just sit down and have a chat with him. But if he had tried to learn about where this guy came from, where he had the resources to do it, especially if he sees him as a threat, instead of just chasing him off, like just he could have seen like where the problem would stem from, and like that's another part of it. It was like
I don't know
it's talking about government's failures, cutting programs and stuff, but it's also talking about I think corporate failures where he could have stepped in with all his billions and he could have maybe done something to help these people. Maybe not even specifically Arthur, but he could have even run in politics. I mean,
he was trying to. He was trying to
Oh,
get
that's
in.
right. Yeah. So maybe he
but-
was trying to
but-
fix something. Maybe he was part of the reason why like it got cut. I'm not sure. It didn't go into that.
But even in the movie, he's running for politics. He's kind of portrayed as the bad guy because he's one of these rich guys who's out of touch.
Yeah.
So even if he wanted to and it was doing it for the right reasons, you know, people would have probably rejected him, or they would
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, you're super elite for wanting a billionaire." But also, as for him being nice and that image of Thomas,
Yeah.
that's all from Bruce. You know, him remembering him, because remember when they did Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And Thomas was
Yeah.
Batman. He's fucking
He
going
was killing
crazy,
people.
drunk,
Yeah,
and
he was
killing
using
people.
guns, he was-
So this might be a pretty decent portrayal of
And that
of
Joker
Thomas Wayne.
origin was beautiful, insane. I did not see that
Yeah.
coming. Where was Martha? Where Martha just loses her mind that she becomes Joker.
Yeah,
That probably is like the best origin that I could think of. The only one where I would be okay with like saying this is the definitive origin is like it was Martha.
she just lost her mind.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to like, so this one like I do like that too. I guess I wish they would have gone more into. I know it was Joker's thing, and it actually lends more to what you said about it being from Joker's narrative. It lends more into this being, his version of things. If like Thomas Wayne, maybe he wasn't like the way he was. Maybe it's like this is just Joker like.
Yeah, it could
how
have
he
been
remembers
his
it.
interpretation,
Yeah,
or
his interpretation, or his making up of it, or his delusion of it, or you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
maybe he never even met Thomas Wayne.
maybe
Yeah.
not. Like maybe the letter was enough
Yeah.
for him, or maybe just the mother telling him stories. He didn't even find a letter or anything. The mother just telling him stories about him. Just he created this. He built this this whole thing in his head, and he connected himself to Bruce Wayne, which I like that too. I do love that. There's always been like a love-hate relationship between Joker and Bruce. I mean, Batman just straight hates Joker, I think.
Yeah.
But Joker, I think he loves him and he hates him, like, because he's he's that insane. I've had a couple theories like Joker's actually I could say he's asexual, or like, you know, he's not interested in any of that. He's just interested in like chaos and killing.
Well,
but I think maybe there's some attraction to him and it's like unrequited. He knows he could like
There's the whole theory also that Joker is self-aware of who he is.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's a comic book character, and so he's like choosing to be insane, or like he's
because nothing matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hyper insanity.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Like, it's like you.
The fourth wall of
of comic book characters. So he's just like going all in.
Yeah.
And also, like you really can't tell with, at least in this movie, because Arthur fucking dreamt up the whole relationship with him and the neighbor.
That's true. Yes.
So anything in this movie,
that should have been a big clue there.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, this movie took a lot from Taxi Driver, which was also why Robert De Niro. I think they put Robert De Niro as Murray.
It was Taxi Driver and was it when the something Showman or the game? I can't remember. It's another movie like that.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that one. It was like a newer one, right?
Yeah,
Well, what
yeah.
I saw, because I'd only seen Taxi Driver, I saw a lot of like Taxi Driver in it. Like even like the setting, the mood, and everything. But like there's that theory at the end of Taxi Driver where you think Travis Bickle, he goes in and you think this is it. He shoots everyone, like he kills the pimp and like those others, and he's trying to save Jodie Foster's character, the child prostitute. And then he gets all shot up and he sits on the couch. You're like, okay, he's gonna die. He went out trying to do what he thought was right, which was killing these people to kind of free her.
Yeah.
And he gave his own life to do it. And then it cuts to all of a sudden he's actually, you see these letters from Jodie Foster's character. I can't remember her name, but
Child
we're saying
prostitute
thanking
number
him
one.
for that, and like he even got like something from the mayor, and like he was a hero. The theory is that was in Travis Bickle's mind.
Oh, his
That
last,
was
his last
his
thoughts
last
before he
thoughts
died.
was like he's imagining this is what's going to happen for him, so it was like an unreliable thing there. So it's like it does lean towards where it's like these between Joker and Travis Bickle, like they create these things are created in their minds. Maybe it's like they create them, or it's created for them, or it's a blend of both.
And
So
even got a
you
touch
don't know
of
what's going, and it talks about that's mental illness. You don't always know what's in certain types of mental illness, like schizophrenia, and like where you don't know. Sometimes you do know what's real and what's not, and it still feels real to you, or you don't know sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind
it's
of
so
also like
fickle.
a American Psycho, like
Yeah.
did he really do all that? And like
Patrick
at the
Bateman,
end,
because the way it like just
yeah, did they cover it up or did he really do all that?
or did he just imagine it like he was doing everything? Is he just like is it like his revenge fantasies and stuff, or his fantasies in his mind that he's just living out in his head, and it's not actually doing any of this, or could he one day? Yeah, they're all like connected. So like Joker, I like the idea of like it could be either one, but well, like I was saying again with the whole Bruce connection, I like that they still took a way for Joker to create this love for Bruce, where he's dangerous and he hates him, but he loves him. Like this could be his brother, so he feels like a family connection to him. But it's like it's also he's the brother that got the father and the life he never had. So it's like there's envy, but there's also like we belong together. Like we're
It's like
connected.
this is why I will not kill you. kind of
Exactly.
thing,
Like
yeah.
I'll do everything to ruin your life, but I won't kill you, and like I'll always be a part of your life because we're connected. And like I like how they put that.
Well, does he know he's Batman?
No, it's just Bruce. Like which is what's crazy is that in this one, I mean, there's theories that Joker knows Batman is Bruce Wayne, and he would never. He loves Batman. He Bruce Wayne. He knows that Bruce Wayne is actually the cover for Batman. Like Bruce has always been Batman. That's his true character. Bruce Wayne is like the cover up identity. Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne died with his parents. But like in this version, it's Joker only knows Bruce. That's why I want to see the sequel, because in this case, maybe he figures it out, maybe he doesn't. But like, it'd be interesting to see him fighting Batman and still like idolizing Bruce. But of course, that would be years later too. So Joker would be a lot older.
I don't know. I don't think I want a sequel for this one.
Yeah,
I
could as a standalone. It would definitely be.
But I've heard
Perfect.
rumors
I guess it's
that
just
there
my
might
morbid
be, right?
curiosity.
I think so.
Oh man.
I hope not, though.
If it made as much money as this one did, it's probably gonna happen.
Man, it's insane.
And I have like a morbid curiosity about it. Like I think they could do it right, but yeah, as a standalone film, it's pretty close to perfect.
And I like it because he doesn't seem like he's the type to, wreak havoc purposefully. Like he's just kind of almost accidentally causing this.
He's just seizing opportunities.
And he's not even seizing them. He's just kind of doing his own thing, and it's causing people to rally behind him. He said at the end, "Oh, this was never political. This was never
Yeah.
for a statement. This is all just an accident."
Well, that goes against what like Bruce saying, like on TV, like he realized he was gonna kill himself, and he realized killing Murray. So was it an act of straight emotion where he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna kill myself, I'm gonna kill you instead?
No, this
or
was
was it
just
that I'm on TV and I was gonna do this for me and live on as this symbol, but why don't I just do this instead? Because this guy, he's bullying me right now. Why am I taking this? I'm just gonna kill him instead. And
No,
then-
there was no symbol that he wanted to become. This was just, one of those don't ever meet your heroes, they'll disappoint you type deal. And Murray turned out to be
I've been
some
a fan since I was a kid, Joker.
because he imagined himself going up to Murray and like getting a hug from him.
True,
And like,
yeah,
oh,
that was
you're the
part of it
son I
too.
always wanted. And then when he finally meets him and he realizes that, man, this guy is not who I thought, and he's being a bully to me, I might as well take him out. I don't think there was
Yeah,
any.
it was a hard fall for his one of his idols that he wanted to base a career off of. Yeah, true. And the whole he watches it with his mother, you could tell that was a thing that they had together.
Mhm.
Like he was almost a part of like the family. Didn't he say he was like? So yeah, but that's that idolization, mental illness, where they. The whole stalker part of stalker mentality, where he didn't really stalk Murray or anything, but he idolized him to the point where he thought,
He was a father figure.
yeah, and he felt like he was going to embrace him with open arms. Even after he made fun of him on TV, and then he invited him onto the show, he was still embracing that fantasy of him being them being best buddy, it going perfect, and he didn't see, he was so side blinded. Is that what it?
Or
Blindsided.
Blindsided, side blinded. Oh yeah, the side blind,
blind
the
side.
movie.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock. the
Just
side
a
blind.
horse was just
Blindsided by Murray.
Mm-hmm.
That he invited him on there just to make fun of him, but he had planned to kill himself on there all along. So maybe he did know. It's it's a very fickle thing, his nature, his mind, but it goes to the point of his mental instability.
Yeah. At least to me, I never thought that he wanted to make a point or become a symbol. It was all accidental, at least.
Maybe
for him.
not until
Yeah, 'cause he
not
would've
until the
never-
very end when he did with he actually became Joker and he did the
Yeah, 'cause
lips,
he
the blood.
wouldn't have known that the ambulance was going to come in and crash into the cop
Yeah,
car.
he didn't know he saw what was happening. He saw
Yeah,
the
he
riot
saw-
occurring and he knew it was his doing, and he
Exactly,
embraced
but
it,
He
but
would
he
have
didn't
never
know.
known the
Yeah.
ambulance was going to come and hit the car. So I think he was completely okay with what he had done. He knew he was going to get locked up. He knew he did something bad.
Yeah.
But through all of that, he saw the beauty in the chaos.
Yeah.
And then, there's the beautiful at the ending of the scene with the blood on his face, and he becomes the Joker. And
He has now made his own society accidentally, and he
Yeah.
Well, he's affected society, but he's created his own subculture. Cult,
he's now the ruler of that little society, or he is the idol of that
Yeah.
society.
But I
that-
think on top of that, though, is the
he accidentally made it though. That's the beauty of the
psychiatrist
thing.
at the end.
So it
He
links
killed
to
her.
that chaos. What
Yeah.
came out of the chaos was him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joker is a product of the chaos that he created.
but even so, it could all just be, what's so funny,
Yeah. You
The,
wouldn't
oh
get it.
well, hey, that could be the joke too. Is that he is the punchline to his own joke? He created this chaos on accident, and this chaos was born, created him as Joker, and it turned him into Joker on accident. It was all an accident. It was all a random, chaotic incident.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's the joke. Is he's he's not the comedian. He's the joke.
Yeah,
And then he killed her.
and then he killed the
And then he killed her.
psychiatrist.
Oh, I
Do
did
you
love
think-
that part at the very end where he's running in slow motion. It's the classic comedian where they run one
Yeah.
way and then he's being chased
Yeah,
and he
and
runs
he goes the
another.
other way, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was darkly funny. It was a
Do you think he killed the girl in the apartment?
Yes.
The
The
girlfriend or his pretend girlfriend?
Nah, I think he left her.
You think
Really?
he killed her?
Yeah, no, I don't think he did. I don't think
Sean?
he killed her.
I think he killed her. I think he did. This was after he did the subway murders, right?
This was
Or was this before?
Right
Yeah.
before he killed.
He
Mom.
gets with her after the subway murders.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do. If it had been before the subway, I would say no. He just left her. Or he imagined it. But no, after committing the murders on the subway, I think that was it.
No, he's in her apartment after he finds out about.
After he kills his mother, he goes to her apartment.
Before he kills his mom, I think.
No, after.
Because that's when he reads the papers.
Isn't it?
He reads the
We
file.
should have watched this right before we.
No, because he reads the file and then he goes in there and he says, "I had a bad day."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And she's just like, "I need you to leave." And
What
What
do
do
that's-
you
that's
think,
the
listeners?
whole-
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, but he didn't mean to he was.
No,
he
I
was-
understand that.
Yeah.
It was that thing that he did with her earlier.
Yeah,
and
the gun.
Yeah. I really wish that I really hope that I'm wrong, that he didn't kill her, that he just like maybe scared her, or
No,
or
I
he imagined the whole thing. But
I don't think he did.
I think he was already on that path of like murder, especially like the whole where he's gonna kill himself anyway. So why would he?
At least this Joker, the murders he made had
And her kid,
they
too.
they were not random murders. Like everyone he killed
He
for
had
a
a grudge
reason.
with, yeah.
Yeah.
He had
So
a-
I don't think he would have killed
So
the,
it was like
the
a
mother
vengeance.
and the daughter.
It was mostly a revenge, but I think
It was kind
he
of like
would-
Hannibal Lecter. Like if you only eat the rude or only kill the rude at this point,
Yeah.
at least this Joker is kind of
yeah, because he didn't kill
the little guy, the midget.
that's the little person.
I don't care.
Midget.
Well, I don't know I wish I actually knew the actor's name because he did great.
Yeah, that was good. And man, just that was so terrible when he
I need
goes
to learn his name.
when he
Yeah.
goes to reach the lock.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Can you get? Oh my God, he
Oh,
he
man.
played that perfect. You felt that right there.
I did.
That was one of
Oh,
the best
man.
scenes in the
Yeah, it
movie. I
was.
think. Yes.
That was.
I just
Yeah.
I loved that it was the pair of scissors
Mhm.
because he had already snapped at that point.
Yeah.
He was already done.
Yeah. He was basically Joker and everything but name.
Yeah, like that. That was a turning point.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty
One of the
much
turning
the
points.
start of the path.
Yeah.
Was that murder, and it was done so beautifully, dude.
Yeah, they did it perfect. Like that was a horrifying moment, basically showing a violence.
Mhm.
How it was just a very real depiction. That's why realistic.
He just was it gave in to himself and
Yeah,
reacted
or
to
into his mental illness.
no, just like whatever, like with the mental illness, and
Yeah.
he just finally accepted this
Which-
is who I am.
Yeah, which begs the question,
Well,
like,
even before
who
that.
are you? Who are you? Like, are you your mental illnesses? Are you your lack of mental illness? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, it's like asking who he gives into himself or into something in him, or both. It's a good philosophical question because it's something. Again, it's like a test. Like you can't really answer it, but you have opinions on it because
You
of based
can.
on your own. Well, you can't answer it definitively for someone else. You can only answer it for yourself because of your experiences and your personal opinions. You know what I mean?
See, but in his
I'm
mind,
about to drop y'all with some fucking knowledge.
he wouldn't be like he doesn't even know who he is. That's a
Mhm.
terrible
it's,
thing.
It's an origin story. He's discovering himself and then he transforms
And it's
or turns into who.
because with him, like when he goes like I'm thinking clear, I finally know.
Stop taking my medicine.
Yeah, and like doesn't he say he feels great?
Yeah, he's like, my mother died.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, I'm sorry, and he's just like, I'm just celebrating.
Yeah.
I feel great. Like,
Yeah, he felt a freedom in that, but
It's the fact that he's being himself, like
Yeah.
even with his illness and with
Or
everything.
being honest.
But he doesn't know that what illness he has. He just knows that he has something wrong
or
with
multiple
him.
illnesses.
Yeah, and so whenever he stopped taking the medication,
Mm-hmm.
he was thinking clear quotations.
Well, that's a danger. Yeah, clear
Yeah.
quote. Yeah, because that's the danger of like why a lot of people who are on medication they get off it because they start feeling, they think they start feeling better, so they get off of it, or they don't like it and they feel like they're not themselves and they get off it, and then it's
Yeah, and that's whenever he stopped, and of course whatever point where that was where he became the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just him accepting everything about himself.
accepting, being honest with himself with what he feels. I think
Yeah.
is how, for me, in my opinion, how I would put it. Being his most honest with his emotions of what he's feeling and acting on that, whether it's who he is or not as a person. That's a harder question for anybody. But yeah, I guess like really, my only real problem was that I wanted a little bit more with the Waynes, because I just wanted to see. I like that how it depicted that riot as a form of chaos, but there's always victims of like, in any kind of change, there's always effects that you don't even know about, but it comes full circle because I like that he ended up creating Batman, just as much as he created himself in that moment, but he doesn't even know that he created Batman yet, and he might not ever know. But it's just he affected something that affected them affected Bruce, and Bruce became something, and pretty much he has his own psychosis. He basically they say he's like as crazy as Joker, and Joker kind of like maybe that's the joke to the Joker is that Batman is as crazy as the Joker is, but Joker is on one end of the spectrum where he does anything he wants. He's basically a victim of his own, or like he worships his own emotions in the moment. He does what he wants to do in that moment. But Batman's on the very other end where he will never kill. He is complete control. So it's like Joker is complete chaos, Batman's complete control, self-control. Joker releases everything, but is it his choice to do that, or is he everything he feels he has no choice over, but he acts on it? Maybe that's his choice. But Batman, he feels it, but he it's like maybe he couldn't even if he wanted to. He wants to kill Joker, but he's never, well, except in like a few.
Yeah. But see, that's the great thing, because Joker and Batman are supposed to be polar opposites, and that's
yeah.
why.
What was it? The immovable
balance.
object and the
What was it, an unstoppable force?
Unstoppable force. Yeah, they meet, but it's funny because they created each other in this version, or like one created the other.
In this version, I guess I don't necessarily say society, but the system created Joker.
Or the failure of the system.
Yeah, the failure of the system created Joker, and then the chaos, or even, okay, you could even say the media or whatever, the press, created the chaos that created Batman, because if they never would have made him a symbol.
It's a balancing act, yeah. Once it reaches one point, there's the equal and opposite reaction. Batman comes out of that. So Joker and Batman, like, yeah.
Actually, I think the movie echoes real life really well as for how the media portrayed the Joker in the movie, and how, or at least the media in the movie portrayed Joker as like the symbol to rise up and attack tyranny. Yeah. The media in real life tried to make the movie something that was going to be tyrannical and awful. Like they increased. Okay, the reason I say what I said in the beginning is because that month, I think it was in October when it came out. Mm-hmm. They said for a whole month we're going to give police officers free passes to the movies, for any movie. But the incentive to do that was because they wanted policemen at the theater. Yeah. So in case of a shooting happened, they'd be there. Mm-hmm. And also other theaters increased security.
The theaters did that, though, not the media.
Yeah, no. Well, the media caused the stir. Like, this movie is promoting.
So the theaters reacted to that. Like, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the movie was really great because what was happening in the movie was happening in real life. Ironically, I guess.
Art imitating or life imitating art.
Unironically, yeah. And it was happening like instantly.
Hopefully not imitating, but like a cheap imitation or whatever. But I get it. One affects the other, but art always affects life, and life always affects art.
But, But they hadn't even seen the movie yet. And
that's true.
Yeah, and they were trying to make it something terrible. Mm-hmm. And man, like it's just crazy to me. Like
they were raising the question because.
But where was this during, we get movies like John Wick where he murders how many damn people, and the media doesn't say nothing, like, this is a great movie, and they praise it. Yeah,
there's a hypocrisy there. Yeah. But the media picked up on it from groups, I think, that were seeing it as that Rorschach test thing, where like they saw it as it's going to be something that's going to create violence, and these whatever groups they are, that's the whole problem, is like they pick it up from the loudest people in the room. Even though it might not even be it's not the majority of people. It's usually a small minority of a group that has this view of something. And the media it promoted it basically because it raised an interesting question. So they figured this is something that people would want to know because it's interesting in ratings and stuff.
But see, it's also great because, well, not so great, but like how the people rose up in the movie against, I guess, the big, whatever, companies or government, whatever, that's happening already.
Wait, which rising up? Like during the protests or riots?
During the riots or whatever, like just them going through the streets and wearing the Joker masks.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening in real life. When in China or in Hong Kong, they were wearing Joker masks and they were doing stuff. And also in Iran, I believe, they were doing the same thing.
Yeah, but I wish it had shown. It doesn't show who they're killing. I mean, they're attacking everyone, and they're
Antifa. Like the rioters in Joker are Antifa, and I'll show you the clip where like it's blatantly obvious, like it's them.
Does the director say like
He probably won't say it directly, but I mean, I'll show you some Antifa riots,
Uh-huh.
and I'll show you the riots portrayed in the movie, and it's them,
Well,
like without a doubt, like
yeah.
that's them.
Well, maybe
Oh.
maybe so. Yeah, maybe that's what the director was going for. I think I like the idea of it being that any group, even that group of protesters, like not all of them went and just started rioting after that. It was a certain group within that group that maybe co-opted it or created their own thing out of it. Because even in like protests and stuff, it's the whole group isn't usually violent. It's usually a mix of like actual protesters, like just protesting, non-violent and violent. One's willing to be violent, and as soon as an act of violence is created, the whole group is set upon because they don't. It's just so hard to discern which ones are the ones that are committing violence and which ones aren't in the moment. Like later on, you can check. They can go over videos and see who, and then it's a whole about abuse of power. Like they're just rounding everyone up, or it's like, you know what I mean. It's so many shades of gray. Like who's right, who's wrong, in that in those moments of in all that chaos. There are certain ones that are creating things on both sides. Like it might not be the protesters. It might be a couple of cops, or security, or whatever authority figure out of the group. They might have started the violence first, or they might have reacted more violently than the other side was, or the protest. Some of the protesters in there. Or, it's so hard to discern. Any group can be co-opted and exploited if you're not careful. Which I think part of this, because it's not going to be every single protester out there that's going to go and start setting cars on fire. And I think the whole reason that they made mention of Arkham letting inmates out and like shutting some of its things, and these mental health programs, particularly why they're all being shut down, is because later on I think they want to show that there are those that will commit ultimate acts of violence and murder, and they will flock to these things where like there are legitimate there's legitimate anger and they want change, like, but they'll try to do it their way, and they're not going to stop at just protesting or running for office or trying other means. They're going to go for violence, or they're going to go for other acts of extreme acts. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like it's good that it shows almost everybody's point of view, but from Joker's, like everybody's side, but from Joker's point of view.
Yeah, as for being co-opted, as for
The possibility.
yeah,
I'm not
the
saying,
possibility, yeah, but just of what's been happening these past few years, even like where they've been rioting at, who's been rioting, it's been mainly from the left and groups like Antifa. I mean
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it has been. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you.
Okay. I'm willing to watch. Yeah, I'm willing to watch the videos.
Whenever they attacked Berkeley and Berkeley was burning, it was the left protesting right-wing speakers. A lot of right-wing speakers have been protested.
But was it every left-wing protester committing violence or committing property? I think it wasn't property damage.
Well, yeah, of course, they're the ones who go out and they throw rocks and they damage it. But there is actually
were they actually students there?
Yeah, there were students there.
Like, were they all students? Like, did they actually catch?
Some of them were students, and of course, yeah, some Antifa did come and they. I'll give them that. They did co-opt and they did bash a lot of stuff. And
I'm not saying left or right. I'm saying any group, like on the right as well. Like there could be people like just right-wing people, and then there's
we'll use Charlottesville for example, because the people who were protesting for the removal of the statues, their group was co-opted by the Nazis, and also the ones who where Trump was like, "There's good people on both sides."
Yeah,
that's the same argument that you're giving me. It's
well, when Trump said it, I think he meant. Well, I can't say what he meant either, but I think he wasn't excluding the Nazis when he said both sides.
He was, and I'll prove that to you again. I'll show you that video where he clearly calls out the neo-Nazis and says he condemns them. And that same speech that the media uses, they use the clip where he said good people on both sides, and they don't show the whole thing. Well, I'll show you that was totally taken out of context by the media. And look, I didn't vote for Trump, and I didn't like him, but damn it, like I cannot ignore the shit that the media is pulling, and at least what I've seen over these past 3 years, going on 4, that man, there really is an awful manipulation to what they're showing people.
Well, that'll be another podcast. Like
Yeah.
I use them as like examples of groups. I really wasn't trying to go, like, I mean, yeah, politics isn't everything, but I just meant as like on a social scale. Groups can form subgroups, and those subgroups can become extreme given the right circumstances and the right motivations.
Yeah, and I agree.
So,
I agree
yeah,
with that.
so that's basically what I think this film is at the very end you see the most extreme out of that larger group that had actual grievances against the city and against the corporations. Thomas Wayne in particular, I guess, because he seemed to be the top dog there, which he usually is in all of Gotham's iterations. But yeah, like it went down to the little guy, which was the Joker, coming from a vulnerable state and becoming something dangerous, and then others following him out of those actual grievances. He's both victim and
A perpetrator.
a perpetrator. Yes, thank you. Yeah, he's both,
Mm-hmm.
and like it shows. That's just like a good anti-hero movie does. It shows that there's no real villains or good guys or bad guys. There's just balances of shades of gray and like the choices you make out of these circumstances. Because again, and who you are and like what you do. Like
Kind of like
your
a butterfly
actions.
effect of good and evil.
Yeah, and in this case, Joker became something. He became Joker out of that, and other people followed him. So yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that could be something. That is something. But that's why I think it was really impactful, because it showed the little guy becoming something more in a terrible way.
Yeah, but that anybody could.
And it did
Anybody
take,
can affect.
and it took a breakdown of things that could help of society, or of the system that that people depend on. Like what happens when that breaks down and the people who get forgotten and they get left to fend for themselves.
Yeah. They won't just go away sometimes. Like you can create your own monsters. It's like a Frankenstein tale. Yeah. Almost, kind of.
Man. Final thoughts, Carlos.
It was a good movie.
2 thumbs up.
What about you, Sean? Final thoughts.
It was a great movie. Just to top Carlos. Even though I gave it a 9 and you gave it a 10. But Joaquin Phoenix, yes. Oh my God, amazing.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah, he's getting like an Oscar. They're nominated for how many? Like 11 Oscars or something?
Yeah.
He did a phenomenal job, man. They definitely picked the right person.
I do love that. I mean, technically a comic book movie can be taken this seriously by Hollywood,
Yeah.
the Oscars.
And I'm glad DC is doing this because it's showing them like if you just make some damn good like story and like make a damn good film with a damn good story, you'll make money. It doesn't have to be Martha. Like what? Why'd you say that name? It doesn't have to be that bullshit.
Does that have to be the same remake over and over? They
Yeah.
get creative with it. Yeah.
Well, what do they say? There's only like 7 stories. Like
For all the Justice League members.
No, I mean like in general, like in all of storytelling.
In writing, and it's all about. That's why writing is all about character and their choices and like how they respond to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's great, and like and I guess it's because he tried to be better, or he tried to get away from the things that were hurting him.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't do it no matter how hard he tried.
Right, because everyone around him failed him, and he became a monster.
Yeah, because even like when the guy gives him the gun, and they said, "Oh yeah," and he turns on him and says, "Oh, he was asking me for a gun the other day."
Oh yeah.
He got what he deserved, though.
He really
He
did.
got what he deserved.
And then some. And so did the little person actor.
The midget.
He deserved to be let go, to be a pat on the head or a kiss on the head, because he was nice to him. Yeah, he deserved not to be killed. And well, I mean, you can't say. I mean, there's all that technical thing of who deserves what, but whatever. Yeah, like the other guy had something coming to him. Karma, people.
He fucking deserved it. He's a piece of shit. Fuck Randall.
Bet he wish he hadn't given him that gun now.
Right.
Oh, it wasn't even the gun.
And what's funny
yeah.
is he didn't kill him with a gun. He killed him with scissors beats gun. So the real takeaway is, you don't need guns. You need scissors.
It's a scissor crime.
Scissor crime. It's on the rise, people.
Watch out for your barbers. Sweeney Todd, he was a warning.
Right?
I think so. We should have seen it coming.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a fantastic movie. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was not what I was. It was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
That I'd be so gripped by the movie.
Yeah.
But I did think that it was gonna be a really great character piece, just because Joaquin Phoenix, he really takes his
Yes.
roles really seriously.
Method
And-
actor.
Yeah,
Right?
and just when I first heard the laugh, I was like, all right, I think I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I want to
So-
see more of this.
So, is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker better than your favorite Joker, Jared Leto?
Oh, fuck you. I don't. Whatever,
Can we
sir.
strike that from the record?
No, we can't.
That will be cut out.
Rigo loves Jared Leto's Joker.
Which should be held to an extremely high standard, Carlos. And I'm going to get you those Crocs you wanted.
Yes, Buzz Lightyear.
Killer Crocs.
Those killer Crocs.
Keep it in the Batman theme here.
No one beats Jared Leto's Joker. I'm sorry. I mean, how could you even compare the
Right?
two?
Don't even comment on it. Don't even drop it in the comments.
The lack of tattoos was disturbing.
Where were the tattoos? Where were the tattoos?
Everybody knows this Joker should sit for 12 hours getting tattooed. Jesus. Well, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix Joker was great, and definitely go check it out if you have not seen it. All right, guys, that was another episode, and thanks very much.